I knew this was going to come up. Okay, so I did want to bring this up.
Uh-oh.
So I am a millennial, and I hear you guys talk all kinds of crap on millennials. And I just want to say that I appreciate you elders.
Elders, wow, okay.
No.
With the disrespect.
I know.
This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome
George,
back.
how you doing today?
I'm all right. All right.
We got a guest today.
We do have
I'm
a guest.
excited.
We do have a guest today.
And I'm kind of, and I was thinking, we haven't even talked about this, George, but I was thinking we do like a small mini series within the show where we kind of have a couple shows that are geared toward women in male-dominated industries.
Okay.
So as a UPSer, it's male-dominated. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
There's a lot more males in that industry. Yeah. But our guest today is one of the few, and she does a good job. She is a union steward,
All right.
an active teamster. So I'd like to introduce Whitney Ashdown.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
What's up, Whitney?
He drags out the intros, right?
I know. I can tell. Jeez.
I don't know. I
I
mean,
didn't
what
know
else do you guys
I
want
didn't know
me
I
to
was
do?
that special.
George just wants me to go, Whitney Ashdown, everybody. Anyways.
That doesn't sound like a game show host.
That's funny.
Now, welcome.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Hanging in there.
Good.
A little tired.
Yeah, same.
Not hungover, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm child hungover, if that's a thing.
I get it.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
have a few of my own. I mean,
You
I
got a
didn't have
parasite
them,
draining
but-
you of life.
Yeah. Yeah, literally sucking the life out of me.
Oh, here we go. I thought we weren't
Literally-
going to talk about this. I
Literally
thought we were not going to
sucking
talk
the
about
life
this
out of me.
topic.
But that's what one of my wife called the kids. Parasites.
Really?
Parasites.
Mine are terrorists.
This jeep is filled with explosives. We are going to take their lives and our own.
We're gonna what?
They are. They're more.
I don't know if that's any better.
No. They're way more terrorists than parasites. Hear me out. They're way more terrorists. They hold you hostage.
Yes.
Right? And you got to
Yes.
feed them.
Yeah,
You gotta,
okay.
Because they're not
Do
really
they run at you
clinging
with
on you.
bombs on their chest? So
Basically,
I don't know.
bombs in their diapers.
My 3-year-old is running at me all the time. Knock it off, Mom. Oh yeah, she's 3 going on 16 right now.
Well, she has your attitude.
I am arguing with a miniature version of myself. Yes, I am. I have come to that conclusion that I am arguing with a miniature version of myself, and
Now,
it's
do you-
scary. It's scary.
In retrospect, are you like, shit, I wish I was nicer? Or
To my mom, yes. Mom, I love you.
Well, let's get down
that.
to
I
it.
see that.
I mean, who are you? Where you come from? Obviously, we said you're a UPSer.
Yes, I am a
But-
driver in Anaheim, California.
Okay.
I drive for Tussin Center, and I've been a driver for, I think, coming on 7 or 8 years now.
How long you been with the company?
Almost 15.
15.
Yeah. I've been a driver, or I've been with UPS since 2009.
Does that feel like 15 years? Like to say that?
It's
Does
a
that
long time.
Does it feel like
yeah.
you have attained seniority? I guess,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
I'm on the left side of the page now.
That's cool.
That's a big thing for me. I've been waiting for that for a long time.
For me, I didn't really feel like that till I hit like almost 20 years.
Really?
I still
Where I
don't even
was
feel
like-
like that. No, this is my 19th year.
I don't think I get my next week of vacation until next year, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
That's
growth-
what I'm most excited about.
And did you
Growth
hit
was really
15
stagnant there
this year?
for a
I
while.
think 15. I think it's
Yeah,
15
so
this
next year
year.
you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
the-
I'm- that's what I'm
drivers in
waiting
my
for.
center.
The growth was really stagnant there for a while. Like there
Yes.
wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yes.
being hired.
I-
Like when I was coming up, it just was the same people. I mean,
I actually started when they started Tuesday through Saturday. That's why they promoted me from cover to RPCD. was because they started the Tuesday through Saturday shift. So when they started that, that's when they promoted, I don't remember how many, I think maybe 10 or 12 drivers to RPCD, so that we could work the Tuesday through Saturday shift. So that's basically where I started, as an RPCD at least.
Yeah. Did
So
you
I
do
think
cover
I
at all?
did cover for 2 years,
Okay.
and then have been RPCD since.
Nice. And those 2 years in cover, you stayed there the whole time, or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did you go back and
You
forth?
should know.
So-
We worked together.
Everybody out there doesn't know.
I think I got sent back once,
Okay.
and it was only for a day. And then, if you remember, our managers come running up to us, hey, we need you to drive tomorrow. We don't have the staffing. And it was like, okay, sweet. I'm making top rate for the rest of the week. Thanks.
And I guess I only ask just because I know now it's starting to revert back to what the cover driver was actually meant to be.
Yeah.
Where these guys go back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot.
Which, in
Yeah,
all
I feel
honesty,
kinda bad
that
for 'em.
is,
Yeah.
I do too, and it's a shitty. Honestly, it's a shitty position to
Yeah.
take the cover driver job and know that you could go back at any time if they don't need you. Hey, you're going back to the warehouse. It kind of sucks, but that's what it was always meant to be. There's actually a built-in penalty for using cover drivers too many days out of the year.
Yeah.
The whole plan was to always have them cover vacations or whatever, mostly
vacations,
Christmas, summer,
Yeah.
right? That was kind of the intent behind that language. But now it's kind of reverting back to what it was. I know for a while there it was like cover driver. You would go cover driver and never go back to the warehouse.
building, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I don't. I think I went back once. Maybe twice. I don't really remember. That's a long time ago.
No, when I passed cover driver, they were like, "Okay, you're going back for 2 months. We don't really need you."
Yeah. I know a lot of people.
Right when you pass.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that happened to, and yeah. But for me, it was a different time because like I said, they started the Tuesday through Saturday, so they were really ramping all that stuff up. So for me, I think I only went back once or twice.
So how long did you do in the warehouse?
I was a preloader for 6 years.
Just preloading?
Yeah,
Wow, you
Yeah.
stayed in one spot?
yeah.
Nice.
I got bounced back and forth, which, at the time I didn't know they weren't allowed to do because I wasn't like as involved in the union. But I was in the preload for 6 years. So like I worked under Edie, I worked under Danita. But I think I stayed in one spot for the longest time. And then I actually wanted to be a police officer. I was going to school to be a police officer. I went to Fullerton College. I got my AA in Administration of Justice, and I went through
you.
the. I
My
did.
wife got her AA in.
Yeah, I did. And then I went to I think it was LA County Sheriff's. Went through the test, passed the test, did the physical, passed the physical, got to the polygraph or the background. I can't remember what it was, and they said that they weren't interested. And I want to say like 2 weeks later, UPS came to me and was like, hey, you want to drive? And I said, sure. I don't have to get shot at. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've been
And I'm
a driver
probably
ever
going to make
since.
more money.
Yeah. Realistically, yeah. I think we do. And we still get a pension. Our health benefits are great.
Are incredible.
Yeah.
Are
and
unions
it's,
better?
yeah, I think so. So, yeah.
I would say so. So, I've actually noticed that people that go preload, that do preload, that start off there, they're like more apt to stay there, like in preload, and they're preloaders for their entire
Career.
inside
Yeah,
career.
I got gifts and stuff for Christmas. I was preloading for this, for like, I think 4 set of drivers for at least 2 years, and every Christmas.
Yeah, because the drivers they'll talk to you, they'll tell you how
Yeah.
you want it, you know how to
Yeah.
load their truck, they hook you up.
My drivers, and Al Talavera was one of my drivers,
Also a steward.
also a steward, yeah. And actually,
to Al.
he drove with my parents. He was a driver with my parents. My parents and him were really good friends. So
Yeah, he's a good guy.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back to what I was saying, that the unloaders, most of them, for the most part, they don't stay there. They usually try to go to the sort aisle or to pick off or e-rig driver or
Definitely unload is not the The prime spot.
That's where
I've never done it. I've never
me
done
and George
it.
started.
Yeah, I've never done it. I know that's where my dad started, but I've never done the unload or
not the funnest.
Yeah,
Let's just say
I've never done
You
it.
ever gotten a splinter under your fingernail?
No.
Sucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I lied. I have. I totally have, and it is not. It's not fun.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
Have you ever got your finger chopped off? Shout out, Manny. Anybody doesn't know Manny Rivera?
That's terrible.
Good story.
That's terrible.
Good story.
Oh man.
But
Fun stories, yeah.
so yeah, you been at UPS 15 years. You've been a steward for how long now?
2 years.
2
I think
years?
It's been 2 years, maybe a year. I'm not really sure.
So one of the questions we always ask everybody is there a specific incident or something that
Like
Kinda-
a breaking point, maybe.
I don't have a fired story. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm kind of vanilla. I'm not like,
you're a good
oh, you
girl."
almost got fired. Yeah, I got my first warning letter for the first time in 15 years, like 6 months ago.
are you serious?
I swear.
That's nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first warning letter I have ever gotten, and it was for a stupid reason, and I don't want to talk about it. But
I was fired twice, so.
yeah, no, I don't have a fired story. I don't know. I think it was really my preload years that really kind of pushed me into wanting to be a steward, because I just feel like they get taken advantage of. And I do remember, having
Freeloaders in general, or
just part-timers in
yeah.
general. Part-timers, because like you have to think, I mean, I was working at UPS in the morning, I was going to school, and then I had another job. I had a whole nother job that I had to go to. So at that time, UPS was pretty much to get my medical benefits. It was,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay here.
college job.
Yeah, it was my
That
college
sucked
job.
in like us.
Yeah, it was my college job. And so, I just feel like they get taken advantage of more. And so I felt like I got taken advantage of in certain situations. When I became a driver, I noticed that, people like me, women, I'll just go out and say it because I know people are going to roll their eyes.
People like you, women.
We don't have the same
No, that's
we
good.
don't have the same rights. People don't take us seriously. And I just wanted there to be a woman, even though there aren't very many of us, I wanted there to be a woman voice. And that's just kind of
No,
how I
it's a good thing.
how I've pushed
I will say
forward.
that there are more women. I at least in my 20 years working there, there are definitely more women now
yeah.
that I see.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
I think more in part-time,
For sure.
I would say, because I'm only one of three in the center. There's only three of us now. So
in a center of 100 and
yeah, so
or
it's
something?
just three of us. So aren't very many of us. So someone needs to stand up and be the voice. And if I can be that person, that'd be great. If I can't, then I will keep trying and keep pushing.
And I will say, shout out to the women of Tustin Center specifically, all the women for sure. But Tustin Center is the toughest center in our jurisdiction.
Yes, it is not a fun center.
It is.
It's a fun,
a piece
not
of a center.
fun center.
It is definitely.
It's a piece of a center.
I mean, it's kind of, it brings us all close because we all know the
Yeah.
You know the grind.
the horror stories and the
Yeah.
the routes and
Yeah.
the tough.
Going out blind on some of those routes was
Yeah,
not
the-
fun.
Those routes are tough.
Yeah.
Definitely in our jurisdiction, that is the
Especially-
heaviest center.
When you know one and then they think, oh, we'll just put Whitney on it because she knows it and no one else does. And so you're on it when someone in our center that likes to take a lot of vacation. Yeah. It's not fun.
Yeah, I definitely got thrown around in all the shit routes because I could do them.
Yeah.
If
You could do it and get it done and they didn't have to worry about you and you'd come in and that you'd get a pat on the back sometimes.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. There were a few managers that would give you a pat on the back.
There were a couple. They weed those ones out, but
Yeah.
there were a couple.
Yeah.
So you get into how do you like being a steward?
I like it. I mean, I don't, it's tough. It's tough sometimes, especially because I do have small children. So, a lot of times when I go home, I want to unplug, but I can't always do that. or on the weekends, I want to unplug and I can't always do that. You know, I get
Tell
a
me
phone
about
call, text message, you know, whatever it is. I
Wait till we start
try
Sunday delivery.
to take care of it the best of my abilities. I try to take care of it to the best of my abilities, but you know, sometimes it's hard to juggle both, but I like it. I enjoy helping, and I just want to be, you know, that person that people feel like they can go to, and I'll try to solve their solution. I don't always have all the answers, and I have to ask questions, and I will continue to learn, but you know,
Just makes you a better steward.
Yeah, I try. I really do.
No, you do. I mean, you do a good job. I definitely do a good job, and you care. And that's a lot of
I
the
really
times.
do. I truly do.
That's one of the biggest
That's the
things.
thing that matters the
Yeah.
most.
You know,
I truly
that you
do.
actually care, and that you're.
Yeah, I'm not just smiling and like, you know, walking away from people. Like I
Well,
like legitimately care.
At the end of the day, sometimes, you know, even the contract won't afford a member the outcome or the solution that they're looking for.
Yeah.
They want something
find
else. They
that,
want something
yeah.
better, right? And you might care for the situation, but you would have to break it to them, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
dude, like, I'm sorry, but this isn't what the contract says. You know, you're not going to get
Yeah.
that route, or you're not going to get whatever that you know
The
outcome
biggest
they're
thing
looking
is
for."
seniority right now. Seniority, we're having a real big issue because of the 22-4 and all that stuff. There, it seems like the seniority thing is becoming an issue.
Well, the 22-4,
I know, thank God.
they're all RPCDs now.
But I think when all those guys got flipped, there were some people that got skipped, and you know, because we don't have an HR,
Yeah,
it has become a really big issue. So we'll see.
we have a
Do we though?
small HR.
Do
kind
we
of.
though? Do we?
I mean, shout out to
You
the
have
Oh
HR
yeah,
it's
of
HR
course.
light.
Yeah,
What it is.
I feel bad for that person because they don't have a lot of pull in things, and it kind of sucks that they're
Well,
in
it's,
there.
it's
and
completely changed.
yeah, because you know you ask questions and they're like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't, you know. So I do feel bad for them.
And I don't know, but if you guys have like at all been involved with like the hiring process or try to get somebody a job. So prior, you know, for the longest time, I think up until probably COVID, around that time frame,
Yeah.
you would be able to go to HR and
Yeah,
say,
there was
"Hey,
still someone in HR
I have
during COVID."
a friend that you know
Yeah.
wants a job, or my cousin wants a job, or my brother, or whatever," and they would be able to,
They told me no.
you know, oh, did they?
I asked if my brother could work there, and they said no.
Oh, I got my brother a job.
They told me no, we couldn't have family work in the same building. I was like, okay. I didn't know
What?
any better.
My brother works.
told you that.
I
My
didn't
brother
know- I
works
didn't
in
know
our
any better.
building.
This was-
We can cut the name out, but who told you that?
I don't remember the name. It was such a long time ago. It was literally like 14 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got
Lisa was
my
here,
brother
I
a
thought.
job. I mean, he's in our building now. He's
No,
a
I know that.
freeloader.
I know that they have
That's
family members
weird.
working, brothers and like sisters. Like, yeah. So I was like, later I found out. I was like, oh, well, he could have worked here. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
one of the drivers that works in Tustin Center is a friend of mine. I got him the job.
Yeah.
Ryan, you know him,
Yeah.
you know Ryan. So
Yeah.
I mean, I got him the job. It used to be a lot easier. Recently, in fact, this year, I tried to get another friend of a friend a
tried to
job,
yeah.
and it's like pulling teeth.
I did a
HR has
referral and
no
everything.
control.
I did a
over it,
referral
though.
and everything.
Really?
And she didn't get a job. It was my helper. She was awesome. She was great. I was like, I'll get you a job. No, I couldn't do it.
It's really, really hard now. Now, I mean, it's doable, but there's still a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
Yeah.
You still have to put the application in online. Then that gets weeded out in India, where
Yeah.
our HR
that's-
department is.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's outsourced.
So
Yeah.
it's really weird. And then the actual like contact HR person that is, you know, in the building, and they have multiple buildings at this point for one
Yeah.
HR person. So now that contact person has like no control really of who gets hired, or so it's a lot tougher.
It sucks.
A lot tougher.
It's not
Now,
fun.
do you think they did that for things like this?
I just think it was a cheaper
Or
option.
they were just like, yeah, they don't really do shit. Just cut that so we can increase our budget.
Yeah, I think part of it was it's cheaper. Another part was it's cheaper, and
To outsource?
it's cheaper. Yeah, it's cheaper to outsource,
Yeah.
cheaper to use AI and online applications and all that stuff. So you don't have somebody sorting through a bunch of papers, right? You just
Yeah, but
go-
I mean, every year I know we're gonna get them in like a couple weeks. We're gonna get those referral cards. So what's even the
yes,
what's even
I
the
did
fucking
that.
report? What's even the
I
point
did
of that?
that.
Then, right? 'Cause
I was
I turn in
super
at least 2 of
upset.
those every year, but I never hear
Yeah,
anything back.
because
so.
my
maybe they
helper
just
was
won't
great.
turn them out this year. Give
My
him that.
helper was great. I think she would have made a great employee. She wanted to work. Like, she was willing. She was a hard worker. She was there every single day. She never complained. And I tried. And now she works somewhere else, and I'm super bummed. And I miss her because she was awesome.
That they went the way of the turkeys.
Oh, dude.
Dare you bring
My
up the
parents
fucking turkeys.
my parents
Just
got
before
turkeys.
Thanksgiving,
I
you son of a
know.
bitch.
My parents both got turkeys because they both were drivers, and so they both
That's
got
awesome.
So like we'd use one for Thanksgiving, and
One
then
for
we'd use
Christmas?
one for Christmas. We'd just
Fuck
freeze
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I miss the turkeys. I mean, it's funny.
Buddy still has the box.
The division manager that I work with directly in Laguna, he was actually telling me that, which is really cool. I mean, look, he's a dick. He's a manager, but at the end of the day, he's not a bad person. He actually used to take the leftover turkeys and bring in a deep fryer and fry them for the
for the
employees.
That's
Have you
awesome.
ever had a deep fried turkey?
Yes.
We've done it
never
the last.
have.
We've done it the last 3 years at my house, and
I hear it's fucking
it's
incredible.
really good.
No fires?
Is it like
Yeah, no.
seals
my,
out the
my
outside?
brother-in-law and my
just
husband are really
nice
good
and
at
moist
it.
on the inside.
It's really good. I don't know if we're gonna do it this year, but we've done it the last 3 years.
That's the only thing
really
I'm
good.
scared about. Is just it is
very dangerous
if you don't
yes.
know what you're doing.
Yeah. So
Yeah, don't do it indoors.
I was gonna say,
Please don't do it indoors.
don't do it if you don't know what you're doing.
Do it far away from your house, okay?
Because John's in the middle of the fucking street, coned off.
And don't put it
Go
in there.
around.
Don't put it in there frozen. Don't put it in there
No,
frozen.
never,
No.
never do that.
Never frozen, and try to pat
Oh,
dry
God.
it,
That
please.
sounds terrible.
But yeah, I mean, there's
Blow up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of-
I'm actually a second generation UPSer and Teamster.
Awesome.
Both my parents were drivers. Well, both my parents were drivers. My mom no longer works for UPS, but my dad still does.
But he's supervisor now, correct?
He's not a supervisor. He's in management, unfortunately, but he's
Obviously not a supervisor. He's a manager. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but yeah, I'm second generation.
Have you
and
asked
I'm
him
very
why
That's
he
proud.
awesome.
went to management?
Better on his body.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't want to do the long haul driver thing.
It didn't make sense to go into like a combo porter job, right? So
Yeah, so he
makes
just
sense.
chose to go on, and he's really good at what he does. So I'm very proud of him.
Well,
He's
that's
been with
good,
the company
'cause
for
it's good to have,
35
like-
years or something like that.
yeah, it's good to
Wild.
have like a manager that was at one point on the car.
Yeah.
'Cause they
Oh
know what
yeah.
the job's like.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thankful
He asks me
for
He asks
people
me
that have
questions all the
experience, for
time
sure.
because they get questions from people, and he's like, "Well, do you guys still do this? Do you guys still do that?" And so we both help each other in that sense where if he wants if he needs advice about how to handle a situation, I try to help him as best as I can because yes, he's in management, but he's still my dad. Like I don't
Yeah.
want him. I don't want to see anything happen to him. So
Yeah.
I think he's on his way out. Although I am a Teamster, UPS has been there for my family for a long time. I mean, it got me through school, it got me through, college and health, health wise.
company to work for.
It is a good company.
I
are.
can't really complain that way. It's taking care of my family. So,
I mean, the older managers, I mean, now I think they're kind of doing away with a lot of the benefits for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the older managers, they actually did pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a good salary. They got good benefits. They actually had a pension back
Yeah.
then. Now all that's kind of gone to the
Yeah,
wayside.
I don't
they
think so.
they pay a lot for
It's
insurance.
not beneficial to be management anymore.
No,
I
it
don't see
used
it.
to be.
It used to be, yeah.
When my dad first started, it used to be, for sure.
Well, let's get to the topic. We've been kind of going around a little bit, but so being a woman in a male-dominated industry, talk about it. What's that like?
I just don't get taken as serious as most. I can tell you that from experience only because I remember the first route that I won, which I was super excited about. I had a driver tell me to my face, I won't, say who, but say that I wasn't going to make it, that I wasn't going to last a week because like John said, the routes in Tustin Center are really hard. And this was like a very
hard route.
very difficult route. It was a lot of hours.
I know the route. That was not an easy route.
Yeah.
It's a tough route.
It was a tough route. And I actually took it from someone who had more company seniority than me, but she
Not
had
center.
transferred. And so I had more building seniority, or more center seniority. And
Shout out to Jerry
there-
Jones.
There were, yes, Jerry. There were a lot of people that were really upset that I took that route. And I know that because, we work in a high school and
In a high school environment,
and
can be.
and and people talk, and so I heard what people were saying, and it was hurtful. It was, I felt like I earned it. I felt like I had been.
That's the way seniority works.
I did a great job, and I was on that route for 3 years, so screw you.
I mean, I understand the argument that like people are like, oh, I've had company seniority, but they transfer, but if we fucking just let everyone that transferred over just have all the seniority,
yeah,
they would get top pick for someone who's been in the center for like a week.
I am very much in the mindset that if I would have lost it, I would have lost it. Like that's the way seniority works. That's what we have fought for. But I won, and I was super excited, and for just a small bit, and then I got shit on.
Someone deflated your bubble.
Yeah, but you know what? I was on that route for 3 years. I did get hurt a couple times, which
comes with the territory.
Comes with the territory of the job.
Yeah.
But I made some really good connections with customers, and I fought it out until I got my next one. And then the next one I got was better, and now the one that I'm on, I will never leave, and I will retire on it.
Nice.
I almost took that one, too. But the one that I did end up getting on was better.
I know. I put my name on that one, actually. I think it's up for bid right now. No. There's another one that's up for bid right now that but I won't get.
Yeah,
but I still put my name on it because that's what we do. Yeah. Because you never know. There might be people above you that are like, you know what? I don't really want it, or I don't, want to do that. I don't want to switch. So I'm very much in the believer of if a route goes up and you like it, put your name on it. If you win it, cool. If you don't,
you never know.
Yeah, you just never know.
What are some of the struggles? Obviously, you talked about routes, and this is just me thinking things out, right? Do you feel like you have people to turn to that are, like other women that would understand? Like, say when that issue happened, do you feel like you?
At the time, no, because there were only because I think one of the other women in our center, she's about to retire, so I didn't really talk to her. So no, not really. You don't really have people that you can turn to that understand your situation. Now there are more, obviously, but when this happened, there weren't very many women drivers. Now there are more. So if it were to happen now, then I would have been able to turn to a few drivers, even if those drivers weren't in our center. There is one in our center that I know I can turn to a lot of issues, and that's Mukai, because she's great.
Awesome.
She's she is very knowledgeable, and I do enjoy conversations with her. So if at the time I would have turned to her, but I didn't really know her at the time, and she's the one that I took the route from. So I didn't know at the time. I didn't really have anyone.
And is there anything else that you would see as struggles that would specifically pertain to women? Obviously,
physically, I'm not as, I would like to say that I'm as strong as a man, but, not all the time. So sometimes, physically it is taxing on my body, on my, mental health, on, we have to lift up to 150 pounds. That's a whole nother person, that's a lot of weight. And especially, in an apartment complex, or, I had a customer
you don't want to take that mattress up 3 flights of stairs?
Those purple mattresses?
I had a customer that would ship, 15, 20 boxes that were 150 pounds. It was rolls of rubber. And every day they had 15, 20, 25 rolls of rubber.
Thanks, Rubber Cal.
Yeah. And I would also say that sometimes the company doesn't always have specific rights for women. Obviously, I have, kids now. It's different now, but when I first started, obviously, we go through things that, a lot of men don't. And I don't think the company understands, managers in particular. I don't think they understand that we are a different, entity versus men are. Whether it's breastfeeding or, screw it, periods, cramps, all those types of things. They don't understand the things that we go through. Even menopause for some of the older women, that we go through that,
Yeah, we had a
men
driver
don't.
that retired like 2 years ago, and she was going through menopause.
It's
and
hard.
It was
I've
rough
heard.
for
I mean,
her.
I haven't gone through it, but
It was rough for her.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I mean, my mom's gone through
She had to
it.
get one of those like fans, just like around and
Yeah.
just kept it around her head the whole time.
So you
Wild.
know, we're built different, and
Yeah.
I don't like to be treated differently because, like I said, I can do the same job as anybody else.
Well, if anything, it makes the job harder, and you're doing it. So just imagine imagine if men had to go through that. We wouldn't
Menopause?
last. We wouldn't last a week, right? They'd be
No.
complaining the whole
No.
fucking time. I'm hot, cramped up.
That's all
being
you
a
guys
bitch
do
about
is
it.
complain.
Yeah.
Menopause, menstruation.
Realize if men got their period, there'd be blood everywhere on the walls, the sidewalk, everywhere. Everywhere. Just guys walking to work. Fucking uterine lining. Jesus Christ. Holy hell. God damn it. Give me one of those masculine napkins. Thank you. Yeah.
Cheers to you for going through all
it's,
that and dealing
it's hard.
with it.
It's hard. It's not easy. But like I said, I don't want to be treated any differently. I don't want people to think that like I'm asking for a handout.
Yeah.
But it does definitely make the job different and harder for us just because like we don't always have, you know, like there are days where I have to use the restroom more than others, or like when I go back to work in January, I'm going to have to pump. I just had a baby. And I'm going to have to take, you know, every 3 hours a 15-20 minute break to pump. And I have to do that in order to feed, you know, a little tiny human. So, so
Beautiful
you know,
little baby.
it's going to be different for me than it is for other people. So it does make it more difficult to do those things if you don't have a support system of people who are going to understand, and not all men understand.
I get it, but
Definitely.
that's in honesty that is why I think it's very important to have female a female voice, being a steward. You know, it just, you understand the issues that women go through in that workplace more than I am going to, or George is going to.
Yeah.
So it's important that you have input and you have say.
Which is why with this last contract, I pushed harder than I would have any other time. I mean, when Sean O'Brien came to the local, I stood up and told people, told him, hey, you know, this needs to be put in the contract. You know, we need more rights, especially through pregnancy, through pumping, through, you know, different things. And then even with the women's conference, luckily for me, I got the opportunity because of Eric and John, to send me to the women's conference not last time, but the time before. And they had a specific meeting of people, of women, for what we wanted in the contract. And I did the same thing. I stood up, and it amazed me how many women have been treated like I have through pregnancy, through, you know, whatever. When they asked how many women, you know, have gone through those same things, they actually, like half the room raised their hands. And I actually had someone come up to me after the fact and tell me, like, I really appreciate you standing up and, you know, speaking on this, because I actually was afraid to have kids because I was worried what UPS would do. So, you know, I think that it's nice to have people who actually stand up and use their voice. And if that has to be me, then I'm just going to keep fighting.
And it's some of the stuff that needs to be addressed in the national
Oh,
contract.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I know we got the new breastfeeding language,
Yes.
right?
I'd like to toot my own horn, but, you know, I won't.
But I mean, those are some of the things that we might take it for granted, like in California.
Yes,
California.
absolutely. We are
Because
very
we
lucky.
have extra state laws,
Very
right, to
lucky.
protect
Yes.
women and protect pregnant women and breastfeeding and all these things. But in other states, they don't always have that. So it's good to have nationally. It's good to have you know, a voice for women to bring up those issues.
It is, some of the things are federally mandated now.
Yeah, so
But
they are.
now, not necessarily, they haven't always been,
Yeah.
but they are now.
And California has even more.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes,
as
absolutely.
work some of those things into the contract and we get those in writing and the company agrees, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better to have those protections in the contract. That way they apply across the board. You're not, you know, worried about, okay, well, I have my contract, right, but then I got to look at the state laws and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's a good thing, and I'm glad that you're, you know, you're stepping out there for women in the industry, and even broader, you know, for women in the labor movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you have women like, shout out to Lindsay Doherty.
Yeah,
right?
she's
Doing big
badass.
things.
Yeah,
You know,
she's-
Western Region Vice President. Freaking
She's
awesome.
one of my favorites.
She
Definitely.
is.
I follow
She's
her,
great.
and she's
Lindsay, you got to be on the show.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She did say she would, so I'm shout out to Lindsay. We need to get you on.
Yep.
But it's been good. I mean, I'm glad that you're doing your thing. I know that you during negotiations you had some conversations with Mark Davison,
Yeah, I did.
who was also chair of the West for the package division.
yeah,
So
he's
he
great too.
He
He
was
listened, and
he
it's
was addressing
incredible.
some of that stuff.
It's incredible to feel heard. That's the biggest thing for me is I do feel heard now. I don't feel like, oh yeah, whatever. I don't feel the eye roll. I don't feel, you definitely with this administration, like you definitely do feel like you're heard. They're listening to you. And that's great. I'm not, throwing shade at anybody because, like I said, I've been the most involved right now than I ever have been. But it is nice to see that you are being heard. People are actually listening to you and not just.
I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, you never do. Whatever.
Christ.
But yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice. Mark
No.
Davidson and he personally called me and told me that he was going to do that. So
Yeah, and he did.
yeah,
I was there.
he-
He
yeah.
he brought up some of those issues.
I
Brought them
heard.
up in national.
Yeah, I did hear that.
And it's a good
I
thing.
appreciate it. We do. We really appreciate it because now when I go back to work, I don't have to feel like I'm a burden. It's actually there, and I can actually do the things and not be stressed out and not have to worry about it because it's in there. It's
There
written
are
there.
real life issues that happen. Some stuff that needs to be addressed. It's not a 100% male industry. We
Not
need to
anymore.
take into account women working in the same jobs. That
Yeah.
So it's important. I applaud you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try. Like I said, I will continue to try and continue to learn because it's really important to me.
So
This is
what I
important
mean,
to me.
what's next as far as stuff that you would like to see in the next contract?
I don't know. I mean, I would like a little bit stronger language for while you're pregnant, just because I had a couple bad experiences while I was pregnant, and maybe for after. I don't know how many people know that, like, they give you 6 weeks and they're like, pat you on the butt and they're like, have a good time. Well, for us, our job is very physical. And
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been physically ready to go back to work at 6 weeks. There's no way. I feel like maybe there could be a little bit, like maybe like, I don't want to say light duty, but, a work more than just a week of working back into, your routes. Cause like,
Yeah, the work
a
hard
week is
language.
great. That's great. I appreciate that. But like, that's what, 7 weeks after you just, birthed a human.
Yeah.
But that's it's going to take some time for that kind of stuff. So
If you had a C-section, even worse, right?
yeah,
I mean,
that's 8 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
and they cut through layers of
muscle
your stomach.
and-
Yeah.
yeah, everything.
And I don't think people understand. And I'm sure they do, but like, I don't think a lot of people understand how much growing a human life takes away from the mother. People die through birth, and it's a very, very hard thing to do. And I'm very fortunate because not everybody, gets that opportunity to have children because, there are people that can't, but it's a lot. And I think that there needs to be something like a little bit more in the contract, maybe for after birth. But like I said, it's,
Well,
we'll
those are-
work towards that kind of stuff.
Those
It's
are
not
things
gonna
that
be,
that's why we bargain every year,
Yep.
and more issues come up, and more issues. What did I say?
You said every year.
Did I say every year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we bargain every 5 years. Excuse me, for the for UPS contract.
Yeah.
Like say on this show, you might bring up issues for ladies at CVS or at Albertsons that that
Yeah,
also have to
absolutely.
deal with certain.
Shout out to Erica.
Yeah, right. That also have to deal with certain issues in the workplace.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, like I said. What about more broadly, like women just in labor? Like, is there you have any thoughts about, I think Lindsay's leading the charge right now for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to follow that one because she, Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in our position, there aren't, and I will be the first to admit, there aren't a lot of women that want to do this job.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to beat yourself up for, 10, 12 hours a day? I wish there were more women that wanted to do it, and I know there are, but it's not exactly, everybody's first choice. I know that when I started, it was a college job. I didn't plan on staying. So I guess it would be more of trying to get more women involved, trying to get more women to sign up, trying to get more women to drive. But it is hard. It's hard because, like me, there are women who have kids. And there are a lot of part-timers that, just do, like for my mom, for example, my mom was a preloader. She started in the preload, and she had me, and she did it for insurance. That's just, let's be honest.
She got sucked into the black hole.
And then she got sucked in and drove for a while, and then she quit because my dad went into management, so they couldn't both. That was where you couldn't do both at the same time. So, it's hard. It's hard being a woman and having kids and doing our job. It's not easy.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
My husband's a lawyer and he has to work long hours. He works longer hours than we do. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. So I'm the fallback. Whereas, a lot of the men, they're not the fallback. They go home, they can work the 10, 12 hours, 14 hours and go home because a lot of people have their wives at home. Not everybody, but, a lot of people do. And so sometimes it's hard for me to, do overtime because I got to get home and make sure that I relieve my babysitter and, make dinner and, do all those kinds of things. So I think that it's hard to get women in to actually working, to being a driver at least. Part-time's a little bit easier just because,
less hours.
Yeah, there's
but
less
even
hours.
then, it fluctuates so much.
Yeah,
If you
during Christmas time.
Yeah, during Christmas, you go from working 4 hours, 3 hours a day to working
8, 9.
Yeah, 8, 9.
If you driver help.
Yeah.
So
You'd be working all day.
It's hard to distinguish, trying to what's next. But I just, for me, I would hope that more women would want to drive. I really would hope that there would be more of a push for women to come in and do this job because, yes, it is hard, but I enjoy it. I have fun.
I mean, we
get
might
to work
need
out
them
every day.
We might need them to step up because a lot of the dudes that are getting hired don't want to work.
I knew this was going to come up. Okay, so I did want to bring this up.
Uh-oh.
So I am a millennial, and I hear you guys talk all kinds of crap on millennials. And I just want to say that I appreciate you elders.
Elders, wow, okay.
No.
With the disrespect.
No.
Well, that's the story of my life. No respect. No respect.
No, I do. There are parts of me. I'm not saying all of them because some of them, yes, they do not want to work. But I have to tell you, for me, if I can get a day off and I have a Disneyland pass, and I can take my 3-year-old or 2-year-old, she's still 2, to Disneyland for a day during the week and not have to go on a weekend, I'm going to take that opportunity. There was no knock on that. I'm just saying, or if I can go home and spend some time with her, for me, it's different because, again, I'm the mom. I'm going to miss out on so much at the end of the year during Christmas, during Thanksgiving, that's when we ramp up.
Yep.
That I'm probably going to miss recitals. I'm going to miss, sports. I'm going to miss all these things. So if there's a day that I can take to, take her to Disneyland, take her to the park, go home and just, spend some time with them now, because I have 2 of them, I'm going to take that opportunity. And I know it's not good for retirement, and I know that, it's.
But that's all time you can't get back.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's kind of how I feel.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
if you
and
can,
that's
great.
how
We
I
complain
feel.
about our drivers that are literally 21 to 25
Yeah.
that don't want to work 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
live at home.
I usually do. Man, I wish I lived at home. Yeah, I get it. But I know on a personal level when it comes to, because I feel bad. It's not like I don't feel bad because, we fought for, the pension and contributions and the hours and the guarantee.
Guarantees.
And I appreciate that, but there are things that I'm not going to get that time back.
Maybe I'm jaded. I mean, I work with a lot of different people, right? I mean, a lot of different people, drivers all over the place. So for me, I've just heard a lot. Like, I mean, I've had drivers literally tell me, well, I don't want to work 8 hours a day. I just want to work like 6 hours a day.
Well, this is the wrong job.
I'm just like,
this is the wrong job.
Then you should, then I think maybe you should have just stayed part-time. But then that plays into why we asked for part-timers to get more money because they weren't getting paid great.
No, I agree.
So now you could stay part-time if you didn't want to go full-time and you wanted I think my little brother's like making like $23 an hour now or something like that. Like, that's great. Good for him. He lives at home. He doesn't have his license. Yeah, I said it.
I hope he's not watching.
Threw him under the bus.
I'm throwing him under the bus.
Wow.
Yes, I'm throwing you under the bus.
And you gave a name?
Get your license, dude.
Sort your fucking life out, mate.
I have drivers in our center give him crap now because he needs to get his license. But yeah, there are times where like I'm not going to get that time back. And so I get it. I get why I don't want to work,
No, I understand. There does need to be a better work-life balance, like UPS always says.
Yes,
I totally understand.
And
that.
Well, they
that's
harp
the hard
on that.
thing.
They're like, they're trying to help us with the work-life balance. But then when we ask for days off, they give us grief about it. I'm like, well, pick a lane.
Now. Especially now. Now they're forcing us to work. You have to work 3 days.
3 days.
Like,
What do you mean?
Like, you have to work 3 days now. The company is saying that you have to be there for 3 days or they're going to do. Before I left, this was the situation. You had to work 3 days, at least 3 days, or they were going to do layoffs for the 22-4s because they didn't want to give us days off during the week.
Huh.
So pick.
This is the first time I've heard hearing of
Yeah.
that.
So
like
pick.
Okay.
Make a decision.
Maybe that was just a supervisor that was pushing that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because I've never heard anything
I
like
haven't
that.
heard anything like that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they can
So-
threaten all they want. We've had them.
That's the reason why we
pushing
have language.
We've had them actually push the other way, where we're fighting for guarantees, right? And they say, well, if you fight for the guarantees, we're going to lay people off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's contractual. You owe them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see
get
people
it.
laid off. but,
No, absolutely. That was hard. When all that was happening, that was hard.
It's tough.
It made me sad because I don't like to see people.
Don't
I don't
start
like people
crying.
upset. I don't like people to get upset. It made me because
I'm
like
just messing
it
with
tugs. It tugs on my heart.
Yeah, no, I
'Cause,
get it.
I'm a human being. I don't like to see people get upset. And people have families. Like
Yeah, we all have someone to support, right?
You might live at home, but like, how do you know that that person that's living at home isn't helping their parents
out. Yeah.
pay bills? Like you just never know.
What is something that you would want to get across to the women in these male-dominated industries, in the labor movement, in UPS and in Albertsons distribution, CVS, and all these, where I guess they're just few and far between?
We can do just as good of a job as a man can. I might not have the physical abilities as a man, but I am just as smart. I am just as capable. I can do the same things. I can drive. I can, I go out with the same amount of stops. I do, they don't baby me. Like I'm not, they don't just, oh, Whitney, no, we're not going to do that because, Whitney's there. You're just as good. You can do anything. Women can do anything they put their minds to. And if you want to do it, do it. You can do it. Don't be afraid to do it. And just push harder because there's always going to be someone that tells you can't. And for me, I've always been that one that's like, okay, I'll show you that I can. I've like that driver that told me I wasn't going to last a week. Guess what? I lasted 3 years. And I gave him so much crap about it because I was like, oh, really? I didn't last a week? How long was I on that route again? And that's always been my mindset is I can do anything if not better. And yeah, I said better.
Okay. You said that like you were talking to George.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need more women to do these kinds of jobs because they're there. They pay well. We get great benefits. Like, I don't pay for my kids. Like, we have $10 co-pays. Like, my husband's job doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, it's taxing, and yes, it's hard on your body and, you know, mentally and physically draining, but we can do it too. And we should be in there. We should be doing these things. Like, there should be CVS drivers. There should be Albertsons pickers. There should be, you know, UPS drivers, preloaders. You know, in every industry, there should be women there because we can do just as good of a job as anyone else. And I really hope that more women see that, because I know that sometimes we are in our own head and we don't think that we can do it, but we really can.
Good for you. And
Thank you.
I would like to thank you just on behalf of the show and of me personally. Thank you for, you know, standing up for women in the workplace. It's great to see. You know, we need more voices for sure, and more women if they want to come and
Absolutely. They
get
should.
in the truck and
They should.
get dirty and dusty with the
Absolutely.
rest of us.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Wear gloves,
I'm
though,
all
because
for
then
it.
your hands don't look like man hands.
But thank you for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate
You
that.
know, it's thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
We enjoyed having you. Well, it looks like that's going to be it. But like I said, thank you, Whitney. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Hopefully, we can do more of these women in the male-dominated industry type podcasts. We're waiting for you, Lindsay. Yeah, George.
Follow us on Instagram at ocst.952. Also, email us at ocst.000@gmail. Any questions you want to put in there about your barn, maybe women working in the workplace, do that. Next week, we will be announcing the winner for the bottle giveaway.
Bottles.
So you get a nice bottle with a little cool label on it. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. So you still have time if you want to win a bottle.
It's bottle only.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Next week.